Well, hey folks, who's up for a little cross-dressing in the great outdoors? I know I'm into it. And guess what? So is Bruce. We're gonna read some words of the dragon. A mastermind. A man of some wisdom, some character. Some. Beloved by many. He was a wonderful kinetic artist. Bruce, is there a message? Bruce would like everyone to know his opinion on kung fu, movies, love, and life. The interviewer says, after a short conversation, I felt that Bruce was the same Bruce I saw on the screen. He is muscular. He moves as he likes. The only difference between Cheng Chuan on the screen and Bruce is that the real Bruce is warmer and more emotional. With his rich and low voice, he is indeed a man of strength. His voice is rich and fast. His attitude is sincere. He can easily impress you. However, if you are not careful, you may miss some of his nuggets of wisdom. If you are careful, his clear sentences will remain in your memory forever. The most valuable point is that although he has stayed in the US for many years, his knowledge of Chinese is still sufficient. He can use words properly. This shows that his cultivation in these two languages is very deep. The day of the interview, Bruce's conversation was very spectacular and systematic. And so I have used the dialogue form to report it. The question before Bruce is, what is your opinion on the relation between a husband and a wife? Bruce says, I think when a couple marries, they either go into heaven or live in hell. They may live a fairly like life, sick. He put it that way. That's an exact quote. Or they may suffer a lot. So he means basically they're either gonna like each other or they're gonna suffer a lot. And then he says, I'm a fortunate man. I am fortunate not because my film can break a record, but because I have a good wife, Linda. And why do I say this? Because, first of all, I believe a couple needs to develop a kind of friendship. And it often happens among our friends. So Linda, his wife, he says, and I have this kind of friendship. We understand each other like a pair of good friends. We can thus stay happily together. The quality in her is that moves me is her natural and her neutral love for me. She treats our relationship calmly, objectively, and neutrally. I think this is the kind of attitude that a couple should adopt, as I treat her with the same calmness, objectivity, and neutrality that she teaches me. I mirror back and vice versa. For example, if I state a point, then she has another point. If I state an idea, she has another idea. And certainly we discuss things, or it would be difficult for us to get along well. And the happiness we have today is built on the ordinary life that we had before we got married. The happiness that is got from an ordinary life can last longer. Like coal, it burns gradually and slowly. The happiness that is got from excitement and infatuation is like a brilliant fire, and soon it goes out. Before we married, we never had the chance to go to nightclubs. We only spent our nights watching a little TV and mostly chatting. And most young couples live a very exciting life when they are first in love. So when they marry, then their lives are reduced to dullness, calmness that makes them feel impatient, and then they will drink the bitter cup of a sad marriage. And then the interviewer asked, do you think that an interracial marriage will face unsolvable obstacles? Bruce says, many people may think that it will be that way, but to me, this kind of racial barrier does not exist. If I say I believe that everyone under the sun is a member of a universal family, you may think that I am bluffing or idealistic, but if anyone still believes in racial differences, I think he is too backward and narrow. Perhaps he still does not understand man's equality and love for each other and for all male and female kind. Many people are still bound by tradition. When the elder generation says no to something, they strongly disapprove. And if they say something is wrong, they also believe that it is wrong. They seldom use their mind to find out the truth, and seldom express sincerely their real feelings. They're just propping up tradition because they don't want to look within or express their really own feelings because nobody else is and they don't want to be the first. God, I love Bruce. He's so right on. In fact, tradition is nothing but a formula laid down by somebody's experience in the past, and as we progress and times change, it's necessary to reform this formula. For example, some people fight against each other because they believe in different religions, and actually, if they think a bit more, they will not fight for such a foolish cause. Similarly, box office success is a formula, but will I forget my food and sleep for this dead formula? I, Bruce Lee, am a man who never follows those fearful formulas. So no matter if your color is black or white, red or blue, I can still make friends with you without any barrier. And here I can frankly say I am glad that you are here, for I know that you do not aim to simply take a few photographs and make some money from it. He's saying this to the interviewer. And then, let's see. He sums up with a good partner is the greatest happiness. The question is, you now have a lot of things to do and you certainly don't have much chance to stay at home. Does your spouse ever complain? And Bruce Lee says, I have thought this over too, and I have tried to find time to stay with my family. I always ask myself, does my work affect her mood? And when I find that it does, I will reject some of the contracts and deals that are offered. But Linda is really excellent and does not use complaint. She talks and asks questions and understands and knows that I must struggle and it is worth any sacrifice. And I thank her very much for this. At the same time, I also practice no fap. And even though Linda often tries to use me to exude her abundance of energy, she is able to transmute these energies so that I may exude my energy, thus making us both stronger as individuals to be in the partnership. I accept her resignation of my choice joyously. With such a good spouse, how can I ask for more? And I only hope that in her heart, as she tells me, I am as good of a spouse to her as I possibly can be. Enter the dragon. The dragon knew how to bring it. The dragon knew how to conserve his semen. He was into no FAP. He was into semen retention. He did not engage in any forms of eros lightly, because he knew that the universe was mental, and the spirit that was working through him was working through him very kinetically, as it works through all of us. And luckily he had a spouse that could respect his energies and was also able to practice self-control, which is essentially what it is. God bless.